Alright, greetings family. This is Bomani Tayamba and we're live on Revolutionary Camp, and we're here to share our repatriation energy with our good brothers and sisters that are looking to live in Africa with our group, and we're looking to build a strong black nation on the African continent. Tonight we're here to talk about is America a modern day slave plantation? And we're just going to get right into it, and my brother closest to me, introduce yourself real quick, and then let people know what you think about this subject and your feelings or your views on America being a modern day slave plantation.
My name is Brother Safari, and as far as America being a modern day slave plantation, I think it's self-evident based on our history here in America. As companies expanded, our money goes right back to the enemy. Well, we just started making money, and it goes back to the enemy, and they continue to use that money basically against us through their banking system. It's not for us. The debt system is not. It's designed to keep us in debt. We're not to have, and it's kind of like just that simple. You know, the school system is not for us. It's everything they have set up is designed. It's designed to hold us back, and that's it in a nutshell. We don't get ahead. We'll keep doing the same job 10, 15, 20 years from now with minor raises. We have to think outside of the box if we're going to plan to be owners and stuff like that. We can't just continue to be workers, and that's what they want us to do.
Excellent.
Can I say something? Hathor Segma L, and I'm a spiritual teacher of the All-Seeing Eye with my fiance, Rael. I just was thinking about how we live for the weekend, and how people always say, thank goodness it's Friday. Why are we living our lives like that? And like what the brother was saying is that it's like a rat race. Like it's always like we're on that rat race. When you get up in the morning, you're getting the kids together. It's all a routine, and then finally you get the weekend. And sometimes some people don't even get the weekend. Is that all we're living for? Is that all we're in that day just living for Friday, living for the weekend, and then Monday comes and you still hate your life and you keep doing this for years and years? Me and Rael we were coming up like around this area. Where was it? Like 5 Point?
Yeah, 5 Point.
We're actually in 5 Point, right? Well, I'm sorry, forgive me. I'm not familiar with West End. But we were there, and the white people were just walking their dogs. They were dancing outside because it was St. Patrick's Day. There was a park. They have all the waterfront property. They have just everywhere we go, and even in our travels in Florida, they have the waterfront property. They're the best property.
Best landmarks.
Why are we waiting for them to give this to us? They're never going to give this to us. So why don't we go to Africa and build that type of life where you can walk out the door? There's a park. You can go and walk your dog. The post office, everything that you need is right there. Everything that they need is in walking distance. What we had to do, we got to get on buses, we got to get on subways. Everything is far distance. If we want good food, we had to go for that. So it's just that we need to start creating our own communities, but we won't be able to do it here because it's too much. Like the brother was saying, is that it's already laid down where we can't do what we need to do for our families.
Now let me kind of answer your question. Is today, is America modern day slavery? I like to answer them both. Yes and
modern
no.
Slave plantation.
Modern day slave plantation. The answer is yes and no. Yes, because I feel that we have all the signs that slavery is still physically evident, right? Meaning that just like what he said, when we look at our job, even though in the old days we used to have chains on our hands and chains on our feet, right? But I think the mentality of the slave then at that time knew that he wanted to leave, right? So at that time they needed physical chains to let us know that we had to sit still and we had to be there, right? But today they don't need those physical chains anymore, right? There's other chains, right? So those things that we used to strive for freedom, now they just change freedom. Freedom is just privileges now. So now when we look at freedom, freedom is more money, right? So now we're on the rat race, because now in order for us to feel like we're free, we have to work like we're free, right? So that I see it as a reverse mentality where slavery doesn't exist is because they put it in our minds and our spirits that as long as we do these things, they A to Z, we work, we have a car, we report to a boss, we've just accomplished the American dream. We don't need nothing else. God is supporting this. Right? Right? So everything that they put in our minds and everything that they've shown us is freedom. Even when we look at TV from our celebrities, we look at the laws and executive orders and they look at all these things, we see it as privileges. Right? But if we look at it as what it used to be in the old days, right? In the old days we were just entertainers and we were given privileges where the entertainers could go to some of the white events and be around the whites and go to the white his restroom and go to the white restaurants, right? Those are privileges to say that, oh, we get to be amongst them. And guess what? That same mentality is still the same. I was watching the Grammy Award show and I saw Jay-Z and I saw Beyonce. All these people were just clothing. They were glowing to be on TV with all this Caucasian. And if we look at the movie Get Out, right? The movie Get Out tells you that in these worlds of Caucasian that they have another inner world. An inner world that we don't get to see.
That we don't know about.
Right? We don't ever get to see it, right? So it's like whenever we look at it, there's still layers upon layers upon layers that's got us built that makes us think that we are living freedom. So the answer to that question is yes, is no. Yes to the conscious people who can see the physical change. No to the people who can't see it and they keep falling to deception.
Perfect. My sister says, can you weigh in on exactly what a plantation is for those people who are not understanding what or understanding what we're talking about?
Yeah, well, yes. Yeah, the plantation is here.
Right.
It's the plantation of the mind, the psychological chains, they're here. The chains aren't, we say take the chains off your brain, John Henry. Yeah, so the plantation is live and it's real and it's true. Much hasn't changed. It's just that the mental slavery, the psychological post-trauma is still in full effect. And I agree with what's been said. The thing for me though is about the individual consciousness. At some point we have to make a choice not to be a victim. You see, because of who we are and who we know ourselves to be. If we have the memory of that, that's what carries me back to Ghana, and bringing others with Africa for the Africans home. So it's a good question. It's really more of an inquiry. It's more of an inquiry. When you pose the question again, Bomani, it's not just a yes or no. For me, it's more of a place to draw from, and to inquire within. Ask the question one more time, brother.
Is America a modern-day slave plantation? But the one asked before you was for you to explain what a plantation is.
Yeah.
Like your job, like just living in America, things like
It's
that.
just a couple of things, and it's kind of funny because I had to consider myself to be an elder.
Absolutely.
So I've been on the journey for a minute. I know, some of us, we don't like to say our ages, but it's relative. Okay.
Exactly.
So when you get to be over 65, I'm 65, moving towards 66, and I've been going back and forth to the continent for a while, not just Ghana, but any part of the motherland, period. There's no other place for me. But there's a time and season for that, you see? There's a time and season for that, and our ancestors have called many of us to hold certain spaces until the time is really right, and it's Exodus time.
Yes, it is.
It's Exodus time, and my whole thing is this: I'm privileged to know that you don't have to put it off and wait for the fall of America. She is falling down, all the way down, and at the same time, it won't be a mass exodus, in my opinion. It won't be, because the ones of us who really love the mother Africa, who really desire and want to be there, and are prepared to pay the cost of sacrifice and study and research and lifestyle and non-popularity, whatever it takes to do it, then that is an individual quest. may be done as families, it may be done as family units, kings and queens, but for me, I can't choose that for my daughter, my sister, my brother, my neighbor, my cousin, my employer. You work. Everyone who takes up space got to work. You eat, you earn, you learn, you grow, you evolve. You see, and ain't nobody necessarily doing that in the same way at the same time. You see what I'm saying? You have to catch it. And then for me, I don't even talk for myself. It's not even an option. You see, it's something that I have to be. It's in me, and I have to allow it. And then by allowing that and taking the necessary actions, oh, it gets so much easier now. You see. But back then in '85 and back in the day, I mean, really, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Kemet, India, wherever. Yeah. Why? Because that's in me. That's my desire. The Creator put that there. And see that part about working. Yeah, you save your little cheese and do what you do with your cheese. You see, my 2 weeks in Ghana, I come back and do anything in North America for the other 11 months. I get my whole life out of those 2 weeks when I align myself with the ancestral energy, you feel me? What you have. See, you don't know till you go. You don't know till you go. But when you have an experience, a soulful experience, you know, you don't even have to talk about it really. Then you got your assignment. You know what to do, how to do it. And the ancestors give you that. They give you that.
Oh, yes, they do.
Bomani, I just have to acknowledge that, yeah, it's a plantation. It's not very sophisticated. And after you live a little while and you peep it, then like we were saying earlier, you don't dumb down to it. You recognize, you recognize it, and then you put a plan together to get you and yours the better. Go ahead, say this.
Just by you talking, it's the
wheels
turn.
I want to say something.
And it's just like we were talking about how black people are local people. We're not international people. There's not enough black people who are being international. So let's go back to the plantation. A plantation was just a plot of land. So you had that plot of land, and if you went out of that perimeter, your ass was grass, right? That's the same thing. These ghettos, these public housing, Section 8, all of this is that plantation.
Yes.
They don't want you to leave out of that.
When you make any more money, you're going to take away your food stamps. You do anything more.
They want to keep you
that's
in that
the
area.
least. That's the change right
And I
there.
can speak
That's
from
right.
an
That's
experience of being a mother that had been on public housing and had been there for 3 years and feeling like you couldn't move anywhere else, you couldn't travel, you couldn't do any of those things
Right.
without, having to have like 3 jobs, 2 jobs. It wasn't possible with the setup that I had. So I know there's generations and generations and generations of black people in public housing and on Section 8 who have never seen across, out of that county or out of that city.
Yeah.
So I think it is really even that we had this thing where we're just local people. We have not. When I hear you saying I went to this, and that, a lot of black people cannot speak like that, or are even scared and don't want to venture out. Africa is this, Africa is that, and have misconception about what Africa is about.
And part of that, and thank you for that, I do receive that. Part of that, as Dr. Naeem Akbar would say, are the chains and images of psychological slavery. The psychological slavery, you see, to think that this is for them and not for me. Of course this is for me. The earth is the Lord's fullness thereof. It's mine, the fullness of it, right? But you're right, the program that we bought into and we've been fed, and some of it have been systematized. And this is Dr. Francis Cress Wilson. There's no area of people activity that is not influenced by white supremacy. No area of people activity. So none of us have been oblivious to it, but some of us have been able to take the chains off our brain. Yeah, and we have. We've done it through recognizing and knowing ourselves like we, right? We study, right, brother? Right.
And it's your soul, because I think it's something about your soul that won't be tied down by nobody. And I think that some of us come back as old souls, right, that are here to lead some of the newest souls out of this place. But there's got to be souls strong enough to come in here and go into darkness and turn all this into light. And that's what, when she talked about with her life, she had to look at all these things and make light out of everything. And that light is saying that, hold on, this is not what my ancestors went through. This is not life. I know life for a reason. I've looked at a squirrel. I've looked at a butterfly. They don't have no chains on them, right? They don't have to report. They don't have to report to no job. They get to fly and be every single day. And so when I look at how we are, we don't get to be humans. And one of my first lessons that I ever learned in being human, I learned it from a geek. As it was when I first got out of my first divorce. I went outside and I saw my father, the male goose, and I saw the female goose. And so it was the first time that I saw that the father goose stayed back, right, and kind of watched over the eggs while the female goose kind of flew off, but she returned. And so I started seeing that the mother goose raised all the other eggs and showed once they hatched, showed them how to swim, walked them everywhere. I saw the mother do all this, and I saw the father sit back and just watch. And I said, hold on, nature does have a system. What these geese are doing is they're teaching them how to be geese. And as simple as the thought that was, I started realizing that we don't have parents teaching children how to be parents. We don't have people saying people be people. All these things that when we look at what makes us people, we don't do it. Yeah. And so when she was saying earlier is that when we look at some of these Caucasians, they go out and they have the great real estate. We done been all over the place, and we see them out there walking fast walking, right? They walking, they out there on the beach, they're laying down, they chilling with their families. And then I go look and see who's serving them, and this is somebody who look like us serving them.
That's away from their children, and then their children are in the schools, and they're teaching their children how to be more in the system and training their minds how to be in the system. So it's an ongoing process where the family is no longer a family and nobody's together. But I did want to ask you a question.
Yes, ma'am.
It's off the subject, and I did it on Facebook Live. But how do you feel about the climate of the black activists, the females, the women? I'm seeing that there are no more like Dr. Francis and a lot of them who have passed. I'm just wondering, when are black women of my age, of 30s and 20s, when we were standing up, where's the Angela Davises of our times? Where's the Assata Shakur's? Where are these women, the Nikki Giovanni's, those women that are really standing out, where you keep on seeing them, they keep on talking, and I have made that, since I have felt that, I have made that my call, but I'm just like, what do you feel like is going to bring more black women to the forefront to be more of speaking out, like the Brother Polites, the Dr. Umars, all these brothers, Tahuti and all these other brothers.
Great people.
I mean, but they're out there. They're out there and they're making
where's the female voice?
Where's the female voice? Where are we at in the trenches? Than other on Love and Hip Hop and some other, where are we really showing ourselves that we are for our people, we are out there, we're speaking, and we're speaking to the women who are so against a lot of the things that a lot of the brothers are saying.
That's an excellent inquiry and question, my beloved. We're here.
Maybe there's.
Well, here's conversation. We're here. Now, here's the thing about us who have the wisdom, knowledge, understanding. We're not trying to be out there like that. We know what happened when folks be out there like that.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier. Is that the last person?
It's real talk. Here's conversation. Mm-hmm. We everywhere. Mm-hmm. And we getting it done. Mm-hmm. We just ain't trying to be out there like that getting it done. We've been getting it done for a long time. For real. I can only talk. But see, it's a great question because we ain't gonna be on TV.
Right.
We got a revolutionary camp. Right. We do our own program. We don't even watch TV. So, but it's a valid and great inquiring question. We're here, and we're here now.
But do you think that we need to be out there more? Because now we have women like Beyonce who are actually taking over, like young black women are looking at this woman as an activist. Don't you think we need to step up and be more in the public? we are doing the work, but I feel like we need to be more out in the public.
Yeah, I think
So these
those
politics and these people are not.
those who have the call for that assignment,
Right.
Exactly.
We'll do
stay
that.
We'll
with
do
me.
that.
Here's the thing about
Exactly.
divine order in this universe. Nothing before its season. Nothing before its time. Even sad sister, have a foot soldier for a long time. And here's the thing about it. You just be like watching the movie for a while. But when you get your marching orders, when you get your divine download, when you get your divine assignment and your instruction, every individual, oh yeah, you're gonna catch it. And you're gonna either obey it, and I don't get to speak for me because what your inquiries are right on time. If these questions aren't being asked, or these inquiries aren't being held, see, the Beyoncés and the individuals that you name, or whatever, everybody, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing right now. And when somebody else is supposed to do something else, like the other sisters and the Hollywood piece, the whole Hollywood piece, that is so not what is, you want me a little bit, what is like, that is like, what you see is not what's happening. It's the unseen. You understand that? You can't see spirit, but you know it's moving, right?
Oh, of
you can't
course.
see the wind, but you feel it's in that. So there is something shifting. You even see the effect of the equinox on Monday. It's a season. You understand? Yeah, I know you do because you're right there. You're tuned in and tapped in. But the energy is such that it's just like with certain things that are set up in our so-called United States of America right now. As Amerikkans would call it. It's true.
The plantation.
The plantation. But it's not for me to like put anything like down or to, but no. It's for me to wake up, realize, and to be alert and listening to my call. Individually and collectively. We were having this conversation earlier. My brother and I have to come to talk on that consciousness level because we're not just talking about a natural thing.
So this is all divine. This is all divine orders, and everyone.
It's just the connection here with my brother and my sister, but money getting me out of the house and coming down to Vinci. Oh, really? The dream place.
Yeah.
I think that things don't just happen. Things happen just. And I feel that even this conversation around this plantation system that we're all a part of on some level, that we're where we're supposed to be right now, and that's the only reality we have is right now. And then out of that, anything could shift. But I really feel very good about the choices that I'm making right now for myself. And I know they're collective choices because we're one.
In the frequency.
I shift, you shift, just like that.
That you're in the frequency of serving others, and so once you're in that frequency, you're going to meet those people who are in the service of serving others. And then depending on what branch and what department you work in, when it comes to the divine, we all get our orders. But I feel like to answer your question is that the people know what this system has become. Where now they're just killing women all out completely in the open. And I realized that the same approach that was taken for the last 100 to 200 years to try to free America is not going to be done the same way, right? We look at Marcus Garvey, and Marcus Garvey had it right, meaning that, hey, we can't do it over here, we need to go over in Africa. Malcolm X had it right, we can't do it over here, we need to go over to Africa. The only person who didn't have it right is Martin Luther King. And I'm going to bring it out because he was the one that got us here marching, right? We're marching, but we're not marching as a movement, we're marching as a day. Right, and so movements are things that when you're fighting someone, you're trying to fight for progression, to move an obstacle out of the way. All right, and so now we've gotten ourselves into a whole paradigm of marching, and now we need to get to a different paradigm, but we got to do it as a collective consciousness, as a collective people to win this battle.
I will say this, I always bring this up when people talk about Martin Luther King Jr. It was a time where he was kind of getting fed up, and he had an interview with Harry Belafonte, and he told Harry Belafonte that he feared that he was integrating his people into a burning building. So I think at the last minute before he even was assassinated, that he was feeling like maybe that integration was the wrong thing, and that we needed to stick to our segregation and building ourselves up. And that's what I tell a lot of people, is that we need unity in our homes first, and then build up to that, where we can get back to those times where we did, when we were in segregation, all we had was us, and that's what we worked upon.
Because there's too much we don't know about ourselves. We're creating fools these days. We're not creating geniuses. So it's letting you know that to fix the home, all right, to regenerate and resalvage and clean up the woman and clean up the father, it's going to take some templates and some people who really went out and did the work on self to be able to go about and change these family units. So I do feel like we're at a time where people are looking for those examples. They're looking for somebody to show it or build it. But right now, enough talking, you can't talk about it no more. Now everyone's got to put their mouth, where their heart is, and say, all right, I'm willing to do what my heart is saying, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to pray and know that I'm being backed by a higher force that's greater than mine, that knows that I'm here for other people and not myself. And so I feel that we're all coming together to really deal with this question, and it can't be with talk no more. Talk has to be the oil, the gas, all right? We got to have somebody willing to put their foot on the gas and go with it and do something.
Perfect on Brother Weed, on some of the things that we just talked about.
I just want to say real quick, for your question, it was posed to me a long time ago. I asked the question, but the response was the answer, and it's the answer to what you're saying. I asked, where were the Malcolms and Medgar Evers of today? I asked the question like 20 years ago, and why aren't brothers doing this or sisters aren't doing that? And the brother responded to me. He was, I think, a 5% brother, but he said, if you see something that needs to be done, you do it. So if the sister feels like a voice needs to be taken and brought out a certain way, just as powerful. There is nothing different from you than Maya Angelou or any other great sister out there. We all are great, and we have the potential to do greatness at every level. Sometimes we like to say, "Oh, I'm not in comparison to that person." Why not?
Oh, I know I am.
We are the same.
I'm seeing a lot of power in this room.
Yeah.
Nobody one side.
Yeah, we are the same. So, and then we were just ending off over there with the fact that sometimes you can bring that body together, so you might be able to reach some younger sisters and educate them on the way, and then they go fly off, it might be in Detroit and branch out, might be in Cleveland and branch out, and then you start getting more and more people saying, waking up. I always compare consciousness with the movie Matrix, and that's where we are to this day. But let's not think that it's going to be all of us. Let's not be fooled. It's going to be probably a major fraction of us that says, Africa. So many of us are lost, already lost, and it's nothing we can do but to do our march in order, or our assignment, like she says, and hopefully as many that can be waking up, wake up.
I say if you can just touch one person, then you done something. And I do know I have that voice, and that's why I started to talk more. I used to hate my voice. I used to be like, I don't want nobody here. But now I came to that point when I went through my purification. We went through our journey. Now it's time to start speaking up. So I know when I can see into the spiritual realm where I get the messages. I deal with my ancestors, and I know it's time. I just pose that question, because anytime you get around an elder and you get around a woman, you give that respect, but you want to know and you want to hear what they have to say.
Absolutely. And one thing I will say is that people are paying very close attention to not so much what you say, but also what you do. Oh yeah. And my actions, your actions, daily actions.
Every day.
Man, it's just everybody is paying such close attention, and that's not a bad thing. I'm mindful of that. I have a daughter, she's 25. I had her when I was 41. That's my housemate. She's down in Charlotte now, skating it up, right? But when I go to Ghana for these 75 days, she run that camp. We're talking about women, sisters, particularly the month of March is so-called Women's History Month, month of February, so-called Black History Month. We don't relegate any of this to a day, a week, a month. As a woman, a mother of civilization, in fact, in knowing myself, and having had the pleasure of journeying with Nana Bafur, Baba Asa Hilliard, to Kemet, to the Valley of the Kings and the Valley of the Queens and the Nile, ancient Kush, and from which we come as a people. We're talking about the Nile Valley civilization. We're talking about Doc being earlier today, Dr. Asa, Mama Anna Swanston, Dr. John Henry Clark's secretary. Just giving respect to from which we come. You're right, the lineage of queendoms. Not confused about that at all. The beginnings, Tony Browder said it this way, we taught everybody. We taught everybody, and then now we're being taught by those that we once taught? I don't think so.
Absolutely. Children.
I don't think so. See, we cannot be taught by those that we taught. You understand? So that's the first thing. And having that perspective and awareness, it for me, is not so much as in the talking, which, you know, we market motivational speakers, we market Les Brown, that's what we do. However, it's a time and season for that.
Right.
And being mindful of the season that we're in, it's really more about not just mission and destiny, but really I'll say about your assignment for this season, not last year's season. You understand? And so that in and of itself is requiring one to be alert and tuned in and tapped in and listening for that. You see, for me, example, I had a shift. In other words, I gave notice. Yeah, I'm going to Ghana with Bomani on May the 24th, right? And I'm the sister who loves and has a passion for what she does. And that's why I continue to work in government, Fulton County government. Now, if you sit in my classroom, you got to be 55. And they go up to 98. So my students are elders, seniors who are 55 to 98. Now here's the piece. I teach calligraphy.
Wow.
I am a calligrapher. I am a scribe. All praises to the Most High, ancestors. And for a long, long time, that's who I've been being in the world, not just in North America. You see, have kids will travel. Here's the conversation. Last Thursday, I knew I would be going to May the 24th of Bomani, but I was like, I won't be back to work till September, y'all. That was it, right? You understand what I'm saying? Why? Because I can do that.
Absolutely.
You can do that too. Everybody can do that. In other words, we have choices that we make individually and collectively. But that wasn't just an ego choice centered just no, I got my marching orders. You hear me?
Absolutely. And before we close, I'm going to weigh in on a few things and then get
Thank
some
you.
final thoughts from everyone. And finally, what I want to put together is an explanation of the plantation system. All right, this nation that we live in, the Americas. You know, when we journey back to the 400 or 500 years, our ancestors were stolen and brought to these shores. And from that point up until now to this day, it's still the same system as far as our people working on a plantation for free. Now we have our people getting jobs, getting scholarship, getting put in positions at these esteem institutes, and it seemed like we're being reinvested to control our own oppression. And I wanted to just get some thoughts on that system that's been continue going on from us being stolen to slavery in the plantation, to Jim Crow, to segregation, and all these other isms and schisms that they have going on now as far as the white nations of the world still controlling our people. And we talk about colonization, we talk about modern day imperialism. These are all of the systems that we still suffer from. So it seems like nothing has really changed over the last 400 or 500 years. We've just been given different systems of oppression one after the other. And then now we're being given glorified oppression system to where we have Uncle Toms and coons and clowns being put at the greatest positions, and our oppressors are letting our folks know that well, if they can get to this level and have all this luxury life and have all these things, well, you can do the same thing too. And we just want to get some feedback on the reality of that this modern day nice glorified system of you having a nice house, nice car, getting a big paycheck, and being able to do all kinds of things is still the slave plantation. The only thing I'll say to people is on that plantation, when you're making all that big money and things like that, reinvest some of that money in Africa. Come travel and take a journey with us to Brazil, Ghana, other parts of Africa. Spend money with your people, support black-owned business, and keep working to where we can uplift each other. And one of the things that we always have to talk about is that more of us need to start black-owned business, and more of us need to start sharing the resources, and more of us need to start, marrying to each other's family, and and doing all the things that everyone else is doing to be strong and everything. So, family. So let's get some final thoughts from. My sister will go first.
Oh, my final thought is all the things that you mentioned was almost the victim consciousness. Like it's all about being the victim. Like I can't do this and I can't do that and I can't and I can't. So the answer is, well, where are you going to do it? My thoughts is that get to a place where you can actually do those things and do group economics to be able to do these things, because you won't be able to do it by yourself. Mexicans do it, Asians do it, pretty much every other race does it. We do it, but we don't do it on a scale where it's helping the whole community, and we're getting places over in Africa to really build. So I think it starts with getting out of the I can't and having that out of your vocabulary, and also not being a victim, and believing that you can. Because if we come from kings and queens and it doesn't stop at slavery, then what were your ancestors doing then? Were they saying I can't and they got me, they got my foot, they got their foot on my neck? They weren't saying that. We were a lively people. We had courage. We were fighters. We were warriors. So we got to gain that back. And how do we gain that back? Is by being with mama, by going home. She's going to give you the nutrients. She's going to give you the courage that you need. So that's my final.
That's right on, sis. And on that, it's the most important place you've got is two, because it's really about momentum. You gotta get to the thank you. See, we build it. That's nation building.
Right.
See, again, and for me, what keeps me ever optimistic and hopeful and most positive, not the victim, totally the victor. And that is the place. See, that doesn't change. It's almost like when you're tapped into source. Call it what you want. Allah, creator, most high, source. You are being sourced, right? And for me, all I gotta do is look at the way we made, I'm talking melanin. That's an indestructible polymer. So we're indestructible people. If not, you would have been destroyed yesterday. And we ain't going nowhere. It ain't going nowhere. And that's the field, white genetic annihilation. So, having said that, as a business owner, it don't matter who in the White House, who in the Black House, who in the Green House, who in the Yellow House, who running your house is the question.
Yes.
Yeah, really. That is it. Like, what choices are you making? Because if you're not choosing, somebody choosing for you. The TV choosing for some of us.
Can I just say one last thing, and I'll cut this off, but it's an honor to be in the room and be around an elder woman. I don't think that a lot of sisters always show that much respect towards the women above them, where we got this jealousy thing going on or these different things going on, but it's an honor when you are able to be at this age and be in the presence of an elder. Because if you got to be here to feel her spirit, not to take away from the brothers, but when you hear an elder speak, you feel their spirit and it hits you in your heart chakra. And that's all I felt.
See it, they got all the evidence on them. She's got all evidence on that, and I already know she's an elder, so I can see it on the stage. We teach you some things on you that shows it. But the one thing to kind of go along with everyone said is that this is really all about evolution. Right, and sometimes we have to realize that, I always tell her and everyone else that evolution has no friends. When it's time to grow, it's time to grow, right? And for us, we have to get ourselves to the point where we're now looking for those new signs of life, right? Because we've been dead for a very long time. The new signs of life is new information. It's new courage, it's new people that's coming forth in your life that's got that fight within them and
Yeah.
that no longer are afraid. So it's that if you feel in your heart that you have fear, then you gotta really take it onto your back and say, well, let me be a good follower right now, and I need to find someone else who's got a good light, and I need to follow them, all right? Because there's a lot of people who are in darkness and they can't quite see, and so we have to get those people hip and open to looking for those people who've been buried, because you got to realize that that which is good and true has been buried, right? And now we're at a time of revelation where those things that are helpful and needed for our salvation is coming forth, right? And so now we get people where we supposed to have been and got out of this whole school system that we got into right when we got the internet boom. And now we know that the internet can house all of the information of the world's information there. So it lets you know that it doesn't require us to do the same thing of going to school, being strapped to a chair in the classroom every single day. It doesn't even require us to be at the same job. Everything should have been automated. Now you see that they have self-checkout. So they're already showing you that they have ways that they can operate without that human being there.
Yeah.
They've been teaching you, we was talking about this before we even did this, that they have the gateless, for the dogs, they have on their little collar, and it's the gateless fence.
Yeah, the electric fence.
It's the gateless. It's gateless. So it's no gate. So it lets you know that we've evolved to a point where we have technology can do our bidding, right? But instead, you can tell that this world is a plantation because they continue to still want to use our body, our physical, our spiritual energy, all right, and still send us home low where we can't produce for our family, serve our family, nor serve our Creator.
And the one thing that really gets me inside of this major conversation is the prison industrial complex.
Let's talk about it. Brother, you'd like to share because
He said, let's talk about it.
You got enslaved, you gotta go there.
That's the lowest slave you can find right there.
Yeah, share with us one of the worst modern day plantation system, the prison industrial complex.
Well, I'm gonna say this first as a final thought, and then I'll say something about that real quick. Final thought. What I like to say to the people and to my brothers and sisters here is, in college, they give us creative thinking. Now, when I started thinking about homeschooling and stuff like that, I believe our youth need to get involved in creative thinking. Just because the powers that be says something is important or nice, we don't always have to adopt that philosophy. Red bottom shoes is another pair of shoes. The marketing said they're $900. Mercedes Benz, okay, we can probably say it is a good car or not. But we do not have to adopt everything that they say and put it up there on a pedestal. You know, many of us have celebrated the enemy's holidays. When you start getting into conscience, you start to say, that's not for me. None of it. You say, oh, you don't celebrate Christmas? None of it. You don't celebrate Valentine's? None of it. You don't celebrate, brother, you know, why do I need to celebrate their stuff? Can I come up with my own days? Can I come up with my own car? Can I come up with my own clothes? And the minister, when he was talking earlier about Brother Farrakhan, he said it a long time ago. How are you going to complain against this guy, but you keep sending your kids to his school?
Exactly.
You keep going to his mall to buy his clothes. You keep wanting to move around in his cars until you grow up and be an adult yourself. You're a baby, you're a boy, you're a little girl. And so all that protesting is for nothing.
Exactly.
You know, now as far as the prison industrial complex, they still writing the laws. And the bad part about it, they got some of us that go along with the stuff, that think that, I don't know if they're individualists, but they don't look at it as black, white, Chinese, or whatever, and they say things like, yeah, I agree. And it could be something as simple as like when Hillary was saying about we need to get more tough on crime, and now certain people, you know, or the weird stuff, coke is worse than crack, or crack is worse than coke. It's, you know, if a white guy does it, he can go to rehab. If the black guy does the same crime, he needs to be locked up for 15, at the minimum 15. And the judge says it like that too. I'm sorry, sir, I have no choice but to give you 15 years. But you just gave this guy 8 months at the, camp. I can't work it out like him. I can't learn the steps like him.
You don't have
No,
privilege.
you are not him. So you got to get away from that whole program. I have daughters, and it's complicated with the school system. American school system is teaching them one thing, and at home I'm teaching them something different, and it's complicated. When you come out of her, for friends that I know who homeschool, they don't have that problem, and it's a big issue. Right now, Dr. Umar talks about $600 billion in Michael Jordan sneakers. What is Michael Jordan doing around here? The red bottom shoes, there's so much material that's out there. We spend. Gotta have it. They come out with something fancy. Gotta have it. Did you see the new, what's it called? The new this, the new that.
An air bubble on it.
Oh, it's got this.
Air
Oh
bubble.
my God. They had jeans, I'm from New York, they had jeans, $600-700. People were buying them. In Harlem, they take the regular pair of Nike sneakers and, bro, it's $400. I'll buy it. So we got to remix it. That's not important to us. And none of that stuff. I don't care if it's camel hair or seal neck, and
Ostrich spell.
Yeah.
Ostrich.
Then we're marketing for them too. When we run around and wear this, on shows with it on, and we're marketing.
And our people are mainly always marketing to us all the time.
Yeah,
On Instagram, on Facebook, they saying, get this, get that.
I think what's getting ready to happen, what would be good to happen, is that how you get a feeling about what feels good, like really good. Eventually, and this is where I am, and I have to look at it this way because nobody can think my thought for me. Okay. This is sacred domain. So if I'm the thinker that's thinking the thought that's creating the thing, I'm getting ready to up my end. Okay.
There you go.
It's like that's why I had to take time off to prepare for the trip to Ghana. I could have waited until May the 25th. I could have worked with everybody. No, it's called self-care. Now, I'm like, okay, if I'm busy, doing, then I'm not being. I'm not a human doing, I'm a human being. First thing is, I have to cultivate a way to just be for a significant period of time so I can actually take charge of this. And out of that, all possibilities. I mean, when I look at the money in Africa for the Africans, in the decade of taking us to Ghana, and I've been rolling with them for about 5 of those journeys. One before that to Ghana with an enlightened teacher, Sister Dr. Barbara King over the hillside, my spiritual mother. And what I'm saying is, it's about alignment. I have to look at it as energy instead of them folks and those folks. And it's energy. And there is, again, like I said, you gave us a momentum in the inquiry that you brought to me, because it's really a lot of work with the divine feminine. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely, we're mindful of these conversations about this energy and the role and the divine feminine. And I think that what's not factored in a lot of times in conversations is it's not as much about the conversation as it's about the momentum again of the energy of some of the quiet gatekeepers. You won't even never know their names. You always had them. You like that one? We always had them. No, we always had them. We always had them. We're underground. We're undercover. We're not trying to be out there like that. We don't even necessarily come out for revolutionary camp. We be incognito or whatever. But so many of us, so many, and I'm talking about alert, ready, on the gate, like, it's just, it's an interesting time. And I really feel in my soul of soul, in my heart of hearts, that everything truly is in divine order.
Absolutely.
And the Marcus Garvey, the red, black, and the green, the real, like Dr. Clark says, he said Pan-Africanism or perish. That's Dr. John Henry Clark. You know, Pan-Africanism or perish. In other words, there's another thing Dr. Clark is one that I listen to.
He's one of the greats out there.
When you talk about the quiet gatekeepers, I just want that opportunity just to absorb that quiet gatekeeper.
A lot of people don't know that they
To
exist.
sit at those women's feet
Don't know
and
who you're talking
take in
to.
all of that understanding.
Thank you so much, and your desire is fulfilled, and so it is, absolutely. And I told, that's why I say my students are elders, they're my elders, and I know I'll cry on this part. I mean, standing on some shoulders, sis, brothers, you know, I mean, like, and the thing that I'm mindful of is more ancestral than physical. So
It's very ancestral.
the things that I see with the things that I see, you know, and like that, and like, yeah, and you're encouraging, and I really do thank Bomani for bringing me here, because I don't always show up just like this myself, like not like I'm, you know, hiding out or anything. I have my students. We have what we have. You understand what we have? And everybody, I know the sisters I roll with, we've been very blessed in so many ways. But there is an accountability and a responsibility and an integrity and a sacrednicity with everything that we do, and it's not to be polluted and out there for you know, certain things. It's because it is of the nature that it is. It's almost like a mother who's carrying a child, and you ain't talking to nobody about even the pregnancy until that first trimester. You understand? In other words, it's a time and season for even certain conversations verbally. And I love how your brother said it about nature. You know, look into nature and cycles and things like that. So, yeah, the Mother Earth is in a very healing and transformative way right now. Yeah, you know, but because we know that this divine feminine aspect of creation is emerging and coming forth, we're looking for those signs along the way, and can't get confused with the static. A lot of static going on here, trying to get your attention over here, little things, and you got to back up off a lot of that stuff, and just like I said, nothing to do except be, and to watch and catch it, you know, catch it in consciousness, and get your marching orders, and get your instructions. Because, you know, a lot of times people say, like, it's Exodus. You know,
It's Exodus, and
it's Exodus.
You need to close on
Okay,
that.
the Exodus on that note, Bomani.
We appreciate everybody's input, and what I want to do is want to let everybody know that we're all business people, and we're all, you know, we all support and do business with each other, and we're all growing together, and we're all looking to build a nation for our people in Africa. So we are really on the move, and I also want everyone to share their business contacts, so everyone that's watching can support all of our wonderful people and keep us running this revolution.
Right. We're spiritual teachers, Rael and Abdel, Sacramento, and we teach a class called the All-Seeing Eye. And what it is Africa's crown jewel, consciousness. And pretty much I always wear it on my hand. One is how to grow consciousness, and this represents how to plant consciousness. So what it talks about is that all consciousness crystallizes, or all consciousness hardens, becomes stone. Some become diamond, right? So you can have coal, Santa Claus can leave you a lump of coal, or you can get a gift, right? And so the thing is, you want to become that star. You want to have a pure consciousness. Just like if you were to look at an elder and they tell you, I'm going to teach you how to make biscuits from scratch, right? We need to be able to talk about consciousness at that level. right? Right now, we haven't gotten to that level, and so what my divine assignment is, and I've gotten these orders back in 2011, was I'm to teach people how to see.
So we do that, and
In the sacred language.
you can check out our website at www.schoolfortheliving.com, and you can find us on our public figure page, Rael, and Hathor Segment L. You can find us on Facebook and inbox us.
And we're the only people on the planet who teaches what we teach. We're the only people on the planet. And the reason why I say this is because this knowledge was given to me from the divine, directly from the source. So I didn't learn it from anyone. No teacher came. I learned this through my suffering, and through my suffering, I was given answers to heal myself. And those answers happen to be healing things for other people. And it was more so, how come people can't get along, like how animal guys get along with the nature kingdom. And I realized that we should be able to get along very easily. It's just that we don't know how to pay attention to the details that we actually were given. That's been blinded from us.
Appreciate the energy, and let the folks know the contact information you want to share so they can reach out to you and fill your pockets with a whole lot of money so you can let us know who should.
We're working on a website soon, and to be continued on that.
What about you, Sass? Share your work.
Again, my name is Sass. It's Sass with the Sagittarius arrow on the end. That's my brand. It's for Sharon Ann Smith. Calligraphy by Sass. The scribe, the high priestess Seshat. You can reach me at Sass, S-A-S Institute at yahoo.com. Yeah, that's what's up.
Absolutely, family. And we're at the Strong Drink Vegan Juice Bar. My brother Ross Isaacs. So we're gonna put all the description of all of our information all online so you can check it out. But our brother is here in the west end side of Atlanta at 576 Lee Street, Suite E, here in Atlanta, Georgia. Check him out. He's all over the place: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and we'll put all of our information in the description box. Remember, family, take the journey of a lifetime to the motherland. We have 10 years of documentation for you to travel with us to the African continent. Visit the website africafortheafricans.org, and you'll find tons of information to get you prepared to work on your escape from America, the true plantation of the world. So family, once again, we appreciate your energy, and we're going to give a strong black fist, and we're going to close, and the journey continues.
Yeah.